I'm getting peppers ready for my chicken bog. I'm cleaning the peppers up. These are fresh peppers, but if you have frozen ones, they'll work just as well. And I'm cutting it up to get it ready to cook it. I'm going to do all my prep first. Clean up my onions and dice them up. Get ready for this is the prep for the onions that you saute for the chicken bog. Sometimes, you know, if you got fresh ones are great. It's a medium to large onion. Or if you got frozen, about 1.5 cups of onion is what you're going to be using. And you can saute this together in a large frying pan with your peppers and about 2-3 tablespoons of butter. And I mean not margarine, but real butter. Because that's where your flavors are going to come from the onions and the peppers with that butter. Makes a difference. Slice it and dice it. If you've got a machine that'll cut them up, that's all the better. However you do it, just cut them up. Like I said, if you got frozen diced onions, got about 1.5 cups, cut it up, break it up, put it in your frying pan. You don't have to defrost it. Just put it in your frying pan. The heat will defrost it, and when the onions are transparent, that means your onions and peppers are done to what they are needed to be done to. That way you won't overcook them. Okay. I like slicing and prepping all by hand. That way I got it the way I want it. And it doesn't change the flavor, really. The ingredients are what makes the flavor, not how you do the cutting and dicing. Let me get a mess. And that's about it. That's about 2 cups, actually, of a large onion. But 1.5 cups is really all you would need. It's done. This one's going to go in the freezer. Chicken, before we cook it, I'm just going to, it's thawed out. It's boneless chicken breasts. And the skin has already been taken off. Very healthy. Whole lot less fat on it and all that. Anybody's trying to cut down on cholesterol and all the extras, this is the way to do it. You want to cut up 2 chicken breasts. Cut it in cubes, like good size, because otherwise they'll get lost in the rice. Like I said, this is the prep before we start putting it together, before we actually start cooking it. You want a good knife to cut this with, or another way to cut your chicken is with a pair of kitchen scissors, such as these, and you just cut it. I mean, it cuts pretty good. Either way you prefer to cut it, scissors or knife. Just make sure your knife is good and sharp, though. And don't cut your fingers. No extra flavoring. It cuts up pretty quick. Scissors or knife. That's the amount of one breast. Then we'll be cutting up another one. Put that in there. And then we're going to slice up the kielbasa. And we'll be ready to start cooking. We're going to start with the rice first. Once we get all this prep ready. So, finish cutting up the chicken breast. That's two good sized chicken breasts that were all boned and skinned. Got them coming up, ready to cook. And my next item to cut is going to be kielbasa. This is the beef smoked sausage kielbasa by Hillshire Farms. You can use any brand you want, any flavor, doesn't matter. Because this is where your flavor comes from inside. With everything else, you'll find that you'll have the flavor of the kielbasa in there. And if you don't put kielbasa in, it won't be the same. This one's frozen solid, fresh out of the freezer. I just snap it and then I cut it into slices, about an inch slice. The kielbasa is the last thing I cook because it's going to stick to the bottom of your frying pan and it will burn it up. And you don't want that with putting chicken in there. But you're going to be cooking it and you're going to brown your kielbasa. You're going to turn it, brown it on both sides because that's what opens up the flavor. Each one of these items, except for your peppers and onions, you cook separately. And what you do is you get these flavors all done. And as you cook them, you put them in with the rice that's cooking. By the time the rice is done, everything else is ready too. And you're ready for dinner. You can cut it at an angle, you can cut it flat around, don't matter, just as long as you cut it. That's my kielbasa ready to be cooked. Before you put water in your pot to cook your rice, you want to put a cap of EVO oil. That's going to help the kernels separate better. After it's done, you flake it a little bit, fluff it up. It's going to separate a whole lot easier if you have EVO in the bottom. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put 4 cups of water and bring it to a boil. Okay, 4 cups of water. Bring it to a boil. We're getting ready here to start cooking the onions and peppers. I'm putting in about 3 tablespoons of butter.
Real butter.
Real butter. And let that melt a little bit in the frying pan. Water for the rice is getting boiling. Getting up there. It's not boiling quite enough. You need them on it at a full boil. We've pre-measured out 2 cups of rice in a bowl on the side. So when the water comes to a boil, we'll just put the rice right in there, stir it. And then we're going to turn the temperature down to low. And put a cover on the pot. Looks like we got a full boil. All right, here we go. we're gonna come over here. Okay. Okay. We're gonna stir it. Make sure all that rice gets good and wet with this hot water. Stir it up really good. It's coming back to a boil, so we're going to turn this burner down to low. Out. There we go. And it'll cool down. We're going to put the cover on it. We'll put the cover on tight. Now that we've got the butter melting here in the frying pan, we're going to get ready to dump in this pepper, green pepper, and my onion. Just dump in the frying pan. And we're going to saute them till the onions and peppers are done. You want to get them coated with butter really good here. Watch your rice pot so it doesn't boil over. You might have to tilt the lid just a little bit so you don't have a boil over. While that rice is cooking, it takes about 20 minutes for the rice to cook. So we're going to be cooking the onions and the peppers first. I always put a little extra butter in because this all goes right in with the rice when it's cooking, and it really, really tastes much better. It goes right in with the peppers and onions. You just take the frying pan, just pour it in with the rice as it's cooking, stir it in, and put the cover back on it. These have to be done before you do that because there's not much cook time once you put it in there. Yep. I need to check this rice. Okay, it needs to go down a little bit lower. Low. So it doesn't boil over. You want to stir your peppers and onions every once in a while here while they're sauteing so they don't burn, stick to the bottom. Yeah. I'm cooking the peppers and onions on high. This isn't something you put on the stove and walk away from. You stay right with it until it's done. It doesn't take that long. Already the onions are starting to cook through. Right? When the onions are done, the pepper will still be a little crispy, which is what you want. Hmm? Yeah, you want the onions to cook until they're translucent. They're almost clear, they're almost see-through. And that means the onions are done. The peppers are going to be a little bit crispy yet, but that's the way you want them. Yep. Onions are getting brown around the edges and they're done. So we're going to transfer this over to the rice. Just dump it all right in there. Here, we're going to turn that off for a minute. Stir it in. Put the cover back on. Okay. Wait. More butter. This is for the chicken. Okay, into this, we add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Okay, you just kind of shake it on the chicken. And if you notice, so far I haven't added any salt and pepper. This is the Worcestershire has quite a bit of salt in it, and this is the seasoning that you want to taste in your chicken. You want to marinate it good with that Worcestershire sauce. Turn the oven on high. And this is a large frying pan, so you want the full size of the burner on while you're cooking it, so it covers the whole bottom of the pan. When you're cooking, you don't want the pan to be smaller than the burner. You want to only use the part of the burner that is the size of the pan. And this is cooking it up very nicely. We're getting ready to transfer the chicken. It's all been cooked and sauteed. Nice. You cook it till it's not pink, okay? Make sure it's done all the way through. That's why you don't have too big of pieces on this. And then you take the lid off your rice. Put your chicken in. Chicken in. Take your spoon, stir it in. Mix it in with your rice. This is where you mix your flavors in. Okay. Okay, there you go. Rice is still cooking, so you're gonna put the cover back on. Okay. Now you're gonna put your kielbasa in. This is your last item. And you put it in there. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit, because otherwise it'll cook too fast. I'm gonna put it down about 60. Medium high. And just kind of roll these sausages over so they're on the bottom where the cut area is. You're gonna brown them. And then you're gonna turn them over and brown the other side. Okay. We're turning the sausages over and cooking them on the other side. You can see how nice and brown they are. And you want it just a little bit, okay? A little dark, more flavor. And that's gonna about do it. Okay? And now we're gonna put this over in the pot with the rice where we just put the chicken. A very colorful meal. Got lots of color to it. And if you want to make a fresh salad for on the side to go with it, that's great. But I'll tell you, this is very filling. And it's got everything in it you could possibly need. Okay? Now we're going to stir it in. Very gently so you don't mush the rice up. The rice is cooked for 20 minutes and it is done. That's a stringy doodle. We're going to just kind of mix it in. And we're done. Chicken bog is done. Ready for dinner. When you're ready to serve it, I'll put the cover back. And we're going to serve up some chicken bog. Two good spoons is a meal. There you go. All centered, all flavored. You can add any other flavors you want, depending on your personal taste. There we go. See how colorful that is? It's really, really very good. Okay, we're going to stir this in a little bit now, seeing as we got more room in there. And we still got a half a pot of rice. This will serve 6 to 8 people. Okay, that's it.